Morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We take a look at your work week forecast, your Christmas break week forecast for most of us for December 27th through the 31st. Looking at a pretty active week of weather, although no significant storms, just a bunch of little storms giving us some snow and one storm that might give us some few sprinkles. So let's take a look at what's going on and we'll figure out this together. Okay, so first of all, here's our, we have a storm that's approaching for tonight into tomorrow, and right now you look at radar, you'd say, wow, it's approaching pretty close. We've already got snow into the Albany area with this, but really a lot of this is not hitting the ground. It's quite dry aloft, and it's going to take quite a while, and actually a lot of this precipitation is kind of diminishing as it heads in our direction. So this looks a lot more impressive on radar than it's actually going to be as it moves through, but we will get some light snow overnight tonight from this system, which is sort of basically an apparent low here over the upper Midwest. It's sort of dying as it heads into southern Canada, and eventually it's going to redevelop, but not real strong and not real quick and not enough to really wrap any Atlantic moisture in. So this will be a pretty insignificant storm, although it will give us a little bit of snow. Let's take a look quickly. You can kind of see how that's happening on satellite. You can see that these storms are getting very much detached, and there's not really a secondary surface low developing here. We're just sort of shearing the storm out, and as that happens, we're going to get some lift in the atmosphere to give us just a little bit of snow overnight tonight as we go into tomorrow. Then, as we take a look at the overall pattern, why is this happening? And this is sort of a repeat of a lot of the ways that the storms have been affecting us over the last little bit here. The real problem for why we haven't seen any significant snowstorms is that we have this trough over the western Atlantic. Really, we need a ridge here. So where you see the deep blues here, yeah, we need the reds to be here. And a trough over the east. Right now, we don't really have, we have a little bit of a ridge over the east. You can see we've got some reds here, but mostly actually we're pretty zonal across the eastern part of the United States. And that's not really what we're looking for significant storms of any type, and it's certainly not what we're looking for snow. We need a trough over the east and a ridge over the western Atlantic, and that kind of helps push storms up the coast. So what we're doing right now is, let me show you here on a different graph. On a different graphic here. What we're doing here is we're developing storms east of the Rockies. That's pretty typical. A lot of times energy comes onshore and kind of gets sheared apart by the Rocky Mountains, and then sort of redevelops east of the Rockies. And storms can kind of do a couple things here. If there's a trough in the west, they may start to develop here and then kind of, in some form or another, redevelop kind of along the southeast, tap some Gulf and Atlantic moisture, and maybe head up the coast. That's how we get snowstorms. Obviously, that's not what's happening here. So what's happening here is we've got storms developing in the Colorado area, and they're kind of heading to the north and the east. They don't get a ton of moisture associated with them, although it's actually very warm and moist here over land. So they are tapping some of that kind of moisture. So they wrap up, they give snow and kind of blizzard conditions to the Dakotas, and then they kind of die in southern Canada and transfer their energy and kind of get sheared out by transferring your energy across into the Canadian Maritimes, north and east of us. And in that process, that's not really a process for us to get heavy precipitation. So that's why we're kind of stuck where we are. This may change. There's some model changes that may kind of shift where the storms are developing. If you can get these to develop kind of more further east here, you can eventually kind of flip the pattern. That may happen for next week, where we at least get into a situation where we get more significant storms. Whether the track is to the west of the Appalachians or east really depends. Will determine whether we get a lot of snow out of these storms, and really it's way too early to tell how the pattern's going to flip in that direction. Right now, just given all the setup, I'd say probably not into a real snowy situation, just because this winter situation has not been great so far. In terms of the forecast, so let's take a look at that. So we got basically 3 chances for precipitation this week. Tonight, a little bit of light snow after being in the mid-20s. Today we'll warm up for tomorrow. We're in the mid-30s. Then we have another system very similar to this one that kind of heads through, although the more significant precipitation with this one, and by significant, it's not that significant, is going to be to our south as we get a few flurries basically in here tomorrow night. Tuesday night into Wednesday. We're in the mid-30s again on Wednesday. Thursday afternoon, and this is a low confidence forecast, because with that rapidly moving systems, the models struggle with it, and it's really kind of hard to pin down exactly what's going to happen beyond a day or two. But we'll have a few sprinkles. We'll be in the upper 30s, and then on Friday it looks like we'll have a few peaks of sun. Really, the only chance of too much in the way of sun. We could see a peak or two of sun early today, although we're really pretty much already locked into the clouds today. Whereas Friday, we could see a few peaks of sun, and we're in the mid-30s, kind of seasonably a little bit above normal. Just to give you an idea of why, one more reason why the forecast is tricky to forecast, here's the jet stream, and you can see that it's just a little bit of ripples as the jet stream kind of pushes through here, and when it's so subtle, these features that move through, the models really struggle with them beyond 2 or 3 days in terms of timing and exactly where the precipitation is going to happen. And it doesn't really make a huge difference anyway. We're talking these storms are the kind of storms that drop an inch or two of snow, not 7 or 8 inches where we'd have to really worry about what's going on. So for the most part, just subtle little influences like that Thursday storm could definitely change around what's going to happen with it as we head through with this kind of a setup. So in terms of the details of what's going on, so the light snow that comes through tonight, we're looking at 1 to 2 inches for most of us, up to 3 inches for the ski area. This is the most snow we're going to see all week. That'll happen, should start snowing anywhere from around 7 p.m. and should snow till 5 a.m. just before daybreak tomorrow. Flurries at the next storm really, where we could get a coating to an inch Tuesday, mostly late Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Light sprinkles, those are on Thursday afternoon. No significant travel issues this week, so if you're traveling, I know a lot of people are, should be good for travel this week, basically. The only time that might be an issue could be a little bit slick tomorrow morning, and possibly if you're heading south on Wednesday morning, could be a little slick in Western Mass if you're driving through Western Mass or kind of south of Albany in New York. No significant storms really until next Saturday night into Sunday. That's our next chance at a significant storm. So I want to thank my patrons who support what I do here. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel before, I'd encourage you to do it. Make sure that you can get all my forecasts. I'll be back with some details as we go through the weekend. I'll certainly be back for my patrons on Wednesday. I do a weekend forecast for them. And then I'll be back on Friday for everybody else with a look at the weekend forecast. Depending on what that storm looks like over the weekend, I'll probably at least have an update for you by Thursday for everybody. A special video just for that weekend storm, depending on what's going to happen with it. All right. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you again soon.